Well, good morning, Tammy.
Good morning, Julie.
It's so funny because, Tammy and I always chat a few minutes before we hit the record button, just so y'all know. I didn't think you probably thought otherwise, but just thought we'd fill you
Yeah.
in. Anyway, hi, we're two psychic moms. This is Tammy Langowski of Tammy's Intuitive Services. Is it plural or singular?
Uh, Plural. How to think. Plural,
Okay,
singular, plural.
okay, so I got it right.
And services,
And
that's on the end. Yes. Thank you.
I'm Julie Hawkins, the Biz Psychic, and together every Tuesday morning we are two psychic moms, and it's so funny because we are, but it's not like we ever talk about our kids. And mine's way off in her own world, so I mean I could chat a little bit about that, but and I think yours probably are too. But
Yeah.
we're
I've
furry
got young adults doing their own thing. Right. Right.
we're furry moms too, and so that's what we talk about, our furry cat children. So.
Yeah.
And when we're not talking about that, we are channeling your questions, the answers to your questions, and we are whatever spirit brings us for the day. So, and I mean, we have a couple questions here, and then we'll see. They're so reassuring to me. I have to tell you what happened to me yesterday. So, because I was just in a tailspin, but
Hmm.
which is unusual for me. I really don't do that. So I don't know. You want to do questions first, and then we'll talk about my tailspin.
Oh, wherever you want to go. Sure. Why don't we go to the questions and then we can go into that. So I'm just getting my paper here for notes.
All right.
Um,
Oh, thank you. So Rudy, gosh, Rudy, I just thank you so much. There's probably just so much gratitude here for your questions. So even though I suspect you probably know the answer to a lot of these but I appreciate we appreciate you asking them. So
yeah. Yeah. Thanks for that.
because for those who don't know, Rudy worked with us at the Metaphysical Bookstore. Well, that's how I know Rudy. So.
Mhm. Same.
All right. So the first question we're going to ask is, did humans or other dimensional beings build the ancient wonders of the world, i.e., the pyramids, Cusco in Peru, Stonehenge, etc., or was it a combination of both?
Mm. Mhm.
Did you're on a roll? You're getting stuff. You want to go?
Yeah,
Or
well, yeah, doesn't matter, right? Either one of us can, I
go
guess,
for it.
jump in. No, but it's what's interesting because I read the question before, but just now,
Hearing it is different.
yeah. So what I got is I saw, like, I kept going back and forth to that. Let's say the human beings, building it. Then I get like other dimensional, and then I got, oh, they're helping the human beings. I want to say, so to the last part of that, or is it a combination of both? That I actually, I mean, I'm kind of just surprised because, as Julie and I always talk about, we never know what's going to really come in. So, sometimes if we're always going, oh wow, it's only because we're not taking the credit, we're just channeling it. So it can be kind of exciting to hear some of the information. But that's kind of what I got is yeah, it's almost like there was a strong influence, is how I would say it. That's what I'm picking up. There was a very strong vibrational influence from, if you want to call it, other beings in other dimensions, extraterrestrial, whatever it might be, that were helping. So there was if I had to put a percentage, I almost get like 80 to 90% was this other information and other energy that was there to help, uh, I guess I would just say, bring the information to human beings. So I'm just looking at that question really quick too. Again, Julie, what you just said, did humans or other dimensional beings build the ancient wonders like the world pyramids?
They are a wonder, aren't they?
Yeah. What I hear is it feels like they both did their job. So that's the answer I'm getting. It was a combination. And I think it's kind of cool to hear this, because I've never really, we've all wondered, right? You wonder about these magnificent, pyramids and Stonehenge. Well, now I was at Stonehenge, like many of you probably have visited Stonehenge or have an opportunity to. And there definitely was another force there helping with that. Unfortunately, the humans had to do a lot of the grunt work, whatever the word is, because they had to, do some of the building. But I feel like there was just a lot of, there was so much belief too. Here's another piece I'm getting of that. There was so much belief from the human beings in these gods, maybe, or other, dimensional, that they really were open up to the influence and to maybe just channeling information of how to do things and the workings of things. So that's kind of what I'm getting. How about you, Julie?
I think it's just a fascinating topic, and certainly one I personally have wondered about. And so what they told me as I first was reading it off before we hit record, we were just going through the questions. They said to me, well, there were different civilizations, and some of them were more open to the outside help from they said from us. And I'm assuming, they said, don't assume. They said us being beings of higher sentient knowledge and information, and because there were different civilizations, they were built at different times, and then those civilizations disappeared. So with their disappearance, hopefully this is going to make sense when I make it circle back around. But a civilization came or was here, and they were guided and gifted the knowledge to build Stonehenge. And then that civilization died out somehow. And when that died out, with it was the information on how to do that, and the information about that civilization. And we've had several civilizations. I heard the number 5 many times from them, that there were 5 different civilizations. What they were, or we have never delved into that. They said, oh, well, maybe you should. So maybe we'll spend some time another day doing that. So to validate what you're saying, yes, humans did that, exactly that sort of grunt labor work, guided by the download of information from those higher sentient beings, because they didn't have the knowledge. They were a gift to those civilizations, really, as temples. They were considered temples. All as far as I know, all of those, like Stonehenge, the pyramids. I mean, I think the pyramids were used for other things. They were deified in other ways to store their royalty, those who died. They would store their remains in there. But they were really meant to be temples of worship of the earth, not of gods as we would think of them. So yeah, just to validate what you're saying, it was definitely a combination of both.
Yeah.
They just said to me, one day we'll talk about the civilizations. One day we'd like to talk about the civilizations that were here. So.
Yeah, that's great. I also had received, when you were talking about that some of that information came in through the astral, through sleep state, to the human beings. They just kind of showed me it was like, given, downloaded maybe in some ways that way. I also thought was interesting. I kind of got like that they didn't, I want to say, it's almost like the purpose of, let's say, the higher beings of helping with this information wasn't so much like they thought this would be something like we would know of it as now. Like we're just so in awe of those things, and it's been around, it's sitting there for everybody to enjoy. I don't even feel, I felt like I kept getting, it was more in the moment. It was just like more in the moment of then. It wasn't so, I didn't get that the higher beings had this, you know what I mean? Like this purpose, like
Exactly.
it was going to be for so huge, and that it was going to be, it was just all for the moment of that time. And yeah, I
Yes.
would agree with the temple idea, Julie, that too. Yeah.
And
Like, you know,
we agree with you. We don't think that it was like, oh, these beings beamed down, you know,
yeah,
and
right.
it came and said, here's the book of Jedi, and you know,
Yeah.
build this
Yeah.
and they will come. No, it was
Yeah.
definitely um they the information was gifted to people through the astral, through the sleep plane, through um engineers who would not have had it otherwise, but
Mhm.
who were receptive to
Exactly.
the implant of the information.
Yeah. That's why I was getting receptive is a good word. I was getting that, like just ones who were really open to, you know, to receiving this. And yeah, it was so much in the moment. I just think that's interesting. I mean, I'm just kind of I know that myself, just hearing that, like that it really was just for the moment, really, and to have it there, but not necessarily be the thing that, you know, everybody goes and oohs and ahs about to this day, which is kind of cool. But
It I yeah, we'll have to come back to that. They keep and actually they keep showing me Stonehenge versus like the pyramids or
mm,
any of the other interesting things that we have here, because it's like, how did those get lifted? And they said it was a combination of leverage and our help.
yeah, I get that too, Julie. I got the exact same thing. That's awesome. Yeah. But it was a combination. So Rudy, I think you already intuited that anyway, because of that last phrase when you said it was a combination of both. I mean, that's truly what I'm seeing it as well. And that it was a,
Hmm.
you know, Stonehenge was for worship, is what I'm hearing. Though it wasn't, I think they were just helping. I don't think they were trying to say do it our way or any of that kind of thing. It was just something about, it was for like a, well, temple, like you said, Julian's, you know, it was that, but yeah.
It was also had something to do with they're telling me agriculture, but I think what they mean is like a way, almost like a clock, a
Mhm.
way to help them with their agriculture and their seasons. I don't know how that works, so don't
Yeah,
ask me, but
right.
um
Yeah,
something
that's true, because that is a thought for many of those, you know, that there is something with that, you know, the kind of the time and things like that. I don't remember so much. I know that when I was there, I must have tuned into it, honestly.
yeah,
Can't remember what I got. I probably didn't spend a whole lot of time doing that either, to be honest, but yeah.
do you know they just said to me, or they're saying now, there is so much, so much information accessible to you, meaning us, the humans, if only you open yourself up to it. And there are many of you who do. And we appreciate that because we are here to give it to you.
Yeah. And you, you know what? Just as you said that, they emphasize books in general, like behind you. And then they were telling me how so much of that, it's almost like read. They said so many things have been channeled through authors.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Oh, for
exactly. We
sure.
always know that authors probably channel anyway. Not saying they don't have their own
But
thoughts, but I'm just
on
saying.
on a kind of related note, but not channeled or anything, I'm just going to go off of that for a moment. So I started watching the show Foundation on, I think it's on Apple TV, which is based on Isaac Asimov's books. And he was, I don't know, I think born in the 30s or something. I don't know. I think he died in the 80s. He's been gone a while, but he wrote that book. Um, and there were, I think, 3 in the series, which I have not read, but I'm going to go to the library and check them out. Um, and it has this kind of unusual resemblance in its language and, of course, its theme to the Star Wars
Mm,
story, because in the foundation, they talk about the empire. It's just wild. Now, he wrote this in the 50s. So I don't even, George Lucas, maybe I don't think was born until like the 40s.
Mhm.
So I doubt that he was, I mean, maybe he did
Yeah,
read
no,
Isaac
right.
Asimov and was inspired to write that, but it's been around for a while. So so they just said to me, there's so much information, and if you think, lest you think it's fiction, go read and realize that so much of what you think of as science fiction has actually come to pass or will come to pass.
Mhm, mhm.
Really
Or
cool.
is, or is out there in another dimension happening now, right? And it's like we just tap into so many things as we start to open up to writing. It is pretty amazing. I think most of you might have had those experiences anyway when you're starting to write something. Let's say you think, I'm going to try poetry, or I'm going to. Now, there's going to be some instances, some of you would say, nothing came to me. But sometimes when you really take time to really open up and you start writing things down, and then that thing where you'll read it back and you're like, wow, kind of surprised.
Exactly.
Well, we get help in all ways. So yeah, back in those days, it makes sense that they opened up to, like you said, engineers and people who were kind of intuitive engineers, you know?
Don't we get help? We get so much help.
Yeah, we do.
All right. So
Cool
the
question.
next question, you wanted to start, you want to read that one?
Yeah, let me find it really quickly. Sorry. Let's see if that was the first one here. Okay. Okay, so Rudy says that he had just watched a show that talked about a group of people in Thailand, and they're in communication with ETs, and they have warned of major volcanic eruptions coming soon along the Ring of Fire. I love all your
I know
volcanoes.
all the volcanoes. We chose
So
like,
anything from the guides on that?
okay. You want to go, or shall?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Julie, because I'm going to think about that. Here.
So here's what they're saying to me. So they're going to say, we don't think that it takes communication with us to show that there are many disruptions on your planet. You call them climate change, and they are going to continue. And the less you pay attention to loving and caring for your planet, the more of these types of disruptions are going to happen, whether it be rising sea level, earthquakes, volcanoes. It's all going to, it's all happening and will continue to happen. And really, we say pay more attention to this, because this is really about be kind to your planet. We've told you this many times, your planet will survive. You will have to adapt to the changes, and it will be uncomfortable, to say the least. Now, with regard to the Ring of Fire, I'm going to say I'm not getting anything specific about that area. We see it, they're saying to me, we see it all, it's planet wide. This is not just specific to one area, nor is it specific to a date or time or year. It's just going to be that way over the next many decades, if not longer, if you don't change as humans and begin to really honor and take care of your planet. That is her way of, we say her, but it's really non-gender, non-binary, whatever you all call it this at this time and place. It is your planet's way of saying stop. Stop doing this. We've been sending you the message to stop polluting us and to stop abusing us for many, many, many years, and you just ignore it. So sometimes it has to be extreme before you listen, and we hope that you do. So again, I'm going to say I don't get anything specific to that area. It's planet wide at various times and places, and I don't know that that's anything new. I think that's just common sense as well as to what they're saying. So that's what I heard.
Okay, good. Makes sense. I will just look to, let's see, major volcanic eruptions, look at the question again, major volcanic eruptions coming soon along the ring of fire. They're not seeing that any that are major. I mean, I don't usually, I always say I'm not really a predictor, kind of intuitive, but I will ask to the question and just see what I get. But I'm getting not any major volcanic eruptions coming soon along the ring of fire. Not that they can see is what I'm getting. So, yeah.
And
That's-
they just said, don't be surprised if it happens. But again, it's not just there.
Yeah, right. Agree. Yeah. Two good questions
That's
there,
our
Ruby.
answer. All right.
So,
So here's my spin out. You want to hear my spin?
yeah. Let's do that.
They're saying to me, just keep, they didn't say keep calm, they said remain calm. So I was spinning out yesterday because I feel like nobody's taking the right action to save our democracy. And all these, and there's a lot of people who are doing all the other things to ensure that there's a fall of democracy. And so, and I'm being diplomatic here. Mostly because it doesn't help to be name calling. It just doesn't. So I kind of was pretty freaked out about it. And I was talking to my friend who is originally from Canada and she lives in Washington. And I'm like, how hard is it to move to Canada? And she's like, it's not that hard. I said, okay. I just got to have that in my back pocket. And all through now, as I'm talking, they're saying, just remain calm. Just remain calm. And so I want to ask them, so you're telling me to remain calm. I value our democracy. It makes me very sad. It's bringing up a lot of emotion for me. And I'm worried. I'm very worried that it will fall. And I don't know what that means to people like me who believe in civil rights and hands off my body rights. And so they're saying this is an adjustment. This is an adjustment period. Okay, but what does that mean? Sometimes you have to see the really bad, ugly before you can truly put a stop to it, to come back and right the ship. The ship is trying to right itself. There are others who are trying to steer it in a different direction. And we all know the bigger picture is they all feel like they're in the right direction. We all get that bigger picture. Everybody feels like they're in the right direction, right? No matter what side of the fence you're on. They're saying you may have to experience what you feel is what you are scared of. You may have to experience a shift in your government, in your government policies, in people trying to change your constitution. It doesn't have to be that way. But you need to fight harder and fight louder if this is the side that you're on, to preserve it. We don't take sides. We hear your side, meaning me. And if this is the side that you want, then you need to, they'd like to borrow the phrase because it sounds so, it's so apropos, beat the drum loudly of not accepting going in a more repressive, more authoritarian direction. You need to beat the drum of your democracy.
Makes sense.
One person alone is one person, but one person who then shares that, and this is again old news, we can come together as a group, as a collective, to beat that drum. So they're saying beat your drum louder, because the other people who want to destroy your Constitution are beating their drum very loud. We'll leave it at that. Anything you have to add?
Let me see. Bear with me 1 minute as I'm looking at democracy and the other that are. What really resonated for me when Julie, you were talking about that sometimes one way or the other has to really accentuate, has to be really out there. I don't know the wordage I'm looking for, in order for the attention to get on it, like you were saying. So they're kind of going to that as well, so that there can be change for those who wish to create the change. They're also going back to what you said or alluded to, either way, that yeah, we're all here learning our own causes and for our own causes, because I heard you say really basically something along those lines. And that's what they're saying as well, just reminding us that, but we, I kind of put it like, whether this is a question really that makes sense or not, but will our democracy fall? And I don't get it will. I don't feel it will. There's too many that feel much like you do.
Yeah, they're saying we see that also.
Yeah.
You have to beat the drum loudly.
Yeah.
You cannot say, oh, this isn't happening, because it is happening.
Yeah.
And so you have to fight that back. But so I guess my specific question to them is are we going to see those who call themselves patriots but caused an insurrection as we define it under the Constitution, and those who incited that, i.e. our former president, are we going to see them punished? Are we going to see that those people, punished isn't the word I want. It's
held accountable maybe, or
yes, yeah.
And
have the truth it's like the truth will out. Okay, but will our truth, my truth, will out over their truth?
Right.
And they did come back to and say, we don't see democracy ending at this time, but it's close. It's really close, and you cannot take it for granted if that's the side you stand on.
Right. Well, we would agree that any cause that you are passionate about, is, like you said, beat the drum kind of thing. It's, you need to do your part, which is exactly why you're in the position for any of us that we are in, is to be able to exercise that while we're here. And will they be held accountable? I just want to ask that question because you put that out there. Not necessarily accountable. Now they show me the flashlight again. They like to use that symbol for me. Like there might be spotlighted. There's might be information that comes out more, the spotlight on them, but it doesn't mean necessarily accountable, because there'll be such a force also on their side, we'll just say, for lack of a better way of putting it, that supports them as well. Life.
I don't know if they're going to answer this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Will Donald Trump die in 2022? Okay.
I'm touching that one.
Does it tell you how I feel? They said it's possible, but they're not giving me anything definitive. And I'm not sure that they would, to be honest. So
I know. Yeah.
All right.
How's his health? We could say things like that. That
Yeah.
means sometimes that comes out a little bit better.
They said they actually just said to me, well, his health sucks, but okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not great. I get the same too. I mean, yeah. But yeah, so we'll see. So I guess bottom line is, whatever you're passionate about, you do need to if it means that much to you to, put your energy into it, you can certainly vibrationally do some visualization, and asking for help, and then whatever, makes sense to go out and do, I suppose, right? So
I beat the drum. They said, keep beating the drum. Keep beating the drum.
Yeah.
I do beat the drum. So, all right. Anything else that we have to talk about? They're laying down my deck today.
Oh, are they? Yay. That's exciting. Yeah. Okay, I keep getting self hugs when you ask that question, but I kept getting the self hugs. We can never be not reminded enough of that, but I did get that. Just remember hugs. Wake up. They showed me like this, like if you drink coffee, hugs. You don't have to drink coffee. I don't drink coffee, actually. I like tea. But yeah, whatever, But the point is like your morning ritual. In other words, like coffee for many people is their morning ritual. So, make sure you're just admiring yourself in the mirror, they said, just how fabulous you are, and that you can have a great day, no matter what your circumstances are.
And love yourself, really. Nobody, here are their words. Nobody should love you more than you love yourself.
That's right.
I'm just going to go with that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
In other words, you should love yourself more than anybody else should love you.
Yeah. First and foremost.
Exactly. And I'm going to say I fall into that category. I love myself unconditionally, and it took me a long time to get there. So, all righty. Well, enjoy the day. It's a beautiful, the winds have passed here. It was crazy windy yesterday.
Yeah, it was.
I was out blowing leaves. Anyway. And so it's very lovely out there, if not a little brisk. Your sweater, I'm like, I'm going to go put on my sweater. I'm a little chilly.
I know.
And and share. And please keep those questions coming. All of you, whoever tunes in, here's what we're going to say to you. Humans are inquisitive by their very foundational DNA. So make a note anytime anything interesting, curiosity wise, wanders into your brain. It's like, I wonder about that. Write it down and send it to us, please.
Yeah. Love to take a look at those things for you. So yeah, be inquisitive.
All right.
Thank you, Rudy, again for your questions.
We're so appreciative.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Oh, I didn't ever say the date today. It's Tuesday, October 12th.
Today's the 12th.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. All right, everyone. See you next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.